everyone! Today's video is going to be a tag video and it is called the book courtship tag. And basically I have about 10 questions to answer, and it all has to do with the whole process of courtship, and it's with books. So let's get straight into this tag. Question number 1. Initial attraction. A book you bought because of the cover. And my pick is The Diviners by Libra Bray. Like, look at this beautiful cover. And don't even get me started about the cover change for the next book in the series. I'm so upset because this is literally perfection in my opinion. Like, and look at the, I can't even speak. It is absolutely gorgeous. When I read the synopsis, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna love this book. And also it's by Libra Bray, which is one author that I've loved for years now. So having this beautiful cover was just like, ugh. And I haven't read it yet, so no spoilers, please. Thank you. Question number 2 is first impressions. A book you bought because of the synopsis. And my pick is More Than This by Patrick Ness. Yes, it's gorgeous, but wait till you hear this. Seth drowns, desperate and alone, but then he wakes, naked, thirsty, starving, but alive. And where is he? The street seems familiar, but everything is abandoned, overgrown, covered in dust. He remembers dying, his skull bashed against the rocks. Has he woken up in his own personal hell? Is there more to this life, or perhaps this afterlife? Like, how cool does that sound? It just, I heard Reagan from Peru's Project talk about this, and I was like, I need this book. Like, this sounds so strange and so interesting to me. I just had to pick it up. So, absolutely. And again, haven't read this yet, so no spoilers, please. Thank you. Number 3, Sweet Talk. A book with great writing. My pick is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I love the writing in this book. It's not overly complicated. You really understand what he's trying to say, but it's really poetic in the same way. And also he creates this atmosphere that's just so incredible that only great writers can do. So honestly, like, that was kind of a no-brainer for me. I had to pick this book for great writing. And if you haven't read it yet, I would strongly suggest that you pick it up, because I think that this is an absolute piece of art, and it's probably in my top 5 favorite books of all time. So pick it up. So number 4 is First Date. A first book in a series that made you want to pick up the rest of the series. And my pick is Angel Fall by Susan E. I remember when I first picked this book up, I read it in one sitting. I was so obsessed with it that I literally got out of my house, went to the bookstore, picked up book 2, and went right back home and started reading it. I was just so in love with the concept of this book. If you don't know what Angel Fall is about this girl and her mother and sister right around the time that the apocalypse kind of happens on the world. It's kind of in that like post-apocalyptic scenario, and it has angels, and it's chaotic, and it's wonderful. It's not like the best book I've read, but it's definitely one of those books that you just can't stop reading, and you just love it regardless of if it's a guilty pleasure or not. It's just so good. So if you're looking for a very fast-paced read with angels and post-apocalyptic world setting, I strongly suggest these ones. They're also pretty small books, so it's not a huge commitment. So this is a must-read in my opinion. Number 5, Late Night Phone Calls. A book that kept you up all night. And my pick is a full series, and it is the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahereh Mafi. Honestly, I remember reading this book and staying up really, really late at night because I just wanted to know what was gonna happen, and it was kind of addictive, this story. I've read the entire trilogy and I feel that way for every single book, especially the last one. But I really don't want to spoil you guys, so I'm gonna just read the synopsis of the first book just to give you an idea of what it's about. No one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the re-establishment has plans for her. Plans to use her as a weapon. But Juliet has plans of her own. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovering a strength to fight back for the very first time, and to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever. In this electrifying debut, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, it's just what young adult fantasy is all about, or paranormal. No, I'm gonna say fantasy, and dystopian fantasy, young adult trilogy. That's what I'm gonna label it as. It's really, really good, and it's definitely a book that's gonna keep you up at night because you're just gonna keep on reading. Number 6, Always on My Mind, and a book that you literally can't stop thinking about. And my book is Go Ask Alice by an anonymous writer. I read that book back in high school and I still think about it to this day. It is basically a book filled with diary entries from this girl called Alice, who suffers with drug abuse, and it's real diary entries, and it was submitted by the parents, I believe, of the young girl, and it's really heart-wrenching and it's very eye-opening when you deal with mental diseases and drug abuse on top of that. I remember crying hysterically. I remember feeling this like weight on my chest when reading certain passages because it's really troubling because you're reading in first person from this person who's going through all of that turmoil, and sometimes she would be sober and sometimes she wasn't sober when reading, and it was very hard. So yeah, so I still think about that book to this day. It's certainly a book that stayed with me. Number 7, Getting Physical, a book you love the way it feels. And my pick is another Liba Bray book, and it is A Great and Terrible Beauty. And I believe that they had a cover change, but I got the entire trilogy before the cover change, so I'm so excited because I love this. I love how you have the back of the woman, which is they're always the back of a woman in each for each book in the trilogy, and then you have the embossed title, which feels really nice, and then you have the beautiful like, I don't even know the term for this kind of paper, but it feels like old, like a really old book. All the edges are not the same and they just feel so nice. I love this book. I've read this book about 3 times, and you should pick this up. This is a historical young adult fiction with some fantasy elements, and it is wonderful. It has some romance. It's based in London in the 19th century. Yes, in 1895, and it is just, I love, and you can tell Liba Bray does her homework when she writes historical fiction, so that's why I'm so excited about The Diviners, because it's a historical fiction once again. So yes, this is a beautiful feeling book. Number 8, Meeting the Parents, a book you would recommend to friends and family. And again, like I mentioned in my previous video, I would recommend You Deserve a Drink by Mimi Hart. It is a hilarious book, but it's also a very easy book to read. It's just a memoir of her hilarious life that she's lived so far, and you don't need a lot of context about the kind of person she is, because it's just such, like, she just gets you right from page 1. So I would strongly suggest it to you guys, and also to all my family and friends that are watching. And I already lent it to my mom, so there's that. Number 10, thinking about the future. A book that you would reread. A book or series that you would reread again and again. And that's an obvious answer, and I feel like everybody answers it with that, and it's Harry Potter. I haven't reread it in a very, very, very long time, and I only own the French editions, so I'm looking forward to buying a box set English edition, and once I get it, I will be rereading the entire series, and I think that book will stand the test of time. I can see myself lending those books to my children. It's just, J.K. Rowling has created this world that's so amazing and magical and so special for a lot of people in my generation, and really I think I could reread it over and over and over again. And number 10 is share the love. So I tag anyone who wants to do this tag. Nobody in particular, because I mean, I'm not that special, so I don't know who's gonna be watching this. So anybody who wants to do the tag, you are free to do so, and if you do, please tag me and send me a tweet or a post on Instagram letting me know that you did it so I can watch your videos. I'd love to see your answers to those 9 questions. And yeah, so that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below if you want to just answer the questions without doing a video, because that's cool too. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.